rebuilding. A catastrophic failure, a new start. Physically, mentally, our careers, our businesses. Step back, first step, next step. The driver in me just wants to get it done tomorrow. We'll do this, do that, let's move this, where are we at with this? You build some confidence, build some self-esteem, start to feel better about yourself. The Silverback Blueprint Podcast, a show for men over 40. We focus on getting stronger, staying motivated, building discipline, creating a community, and becoming truly happy. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Silverback Blueprint, episode 160, 10x things. Guys, I'm just getting over a really bad cold, so my voice is a little different, and it will be over the next couple episodes. In fact, I haven't podcasted in about 2.5 weeks, just because I just came down with a horrible cough and a fever and just couldn't shake it. So coming out of it now, going to get caught up, going to pound out some more episodes. So today, what I want to talk about is this episode's coming out around January 10th, as Luke told me. So right when people are starting to falter off their New Year's resolutions. And what I want to talk about with the 10X is there's a book out called 10X by Grant Cardone. We'll put the link in the information down below so he doesn't sue us and fucking pound my little company into the dirt. Really cool book, and we're using it as a tool in my business right now. I'm sitting down every Monday with 2 or 3 of my main staff, and we actually break down every chapter. So every week they have to read a chapter, and then we sit down, and at the end of our meetings, we actually go and break down the chapter and discuss what's in the chapter and what I get out of it, what they get out of it, what the message is, and how we can take that information and apply it to running hostile conditioning, hostile gear, and the Silverback Blueprint. And the biggest lesson that I've gotten so far, and we're into about chapter 11 right now, and the biggest lesson, and it comes apparent almost right out of the gate, is that whatever you want to do, whatever you want to change, whatever you want to improve upon, it's going to take 10 times the amount of work and effort than you realize it's going to. And there's also going to be 10 times more resistance that you're going to run into. In fact, the more you move forward, the bigger you get, the bigger some of the problems come along with it. And that's why a lot of people will shirk away. That's why a lot of people will barely rise to any occasion, because it's work. It's effort. Once you commit, then you have to show up. And that's not easy, especially not easy at first, especially not easy if you're coming from a background or a state of not getting shit done, right? And for most of you guys listening to this podcast, you're here because you want to get better. And some of you are doing things and moving forward and doing quite well. Some of you are just starting. Some of you are just finding the podcast. So you're in the earlier stages. You're in the stages where you're still in the grips of some despair and some laziness and and feeling lost and without a purpose. And I get it, guys. And no matter how far you move forward, that's always just behind you. But the thing to remember, and it's what I'm liking about this book, is being honest and real about it and saying, hey, listen, it's going to take work, especially at first. Once we build momentum and we start moving forward, then it takes less work, right? If we've ever had to push a car, the first foot's the hardest because we're taking it from a dead stop, the ultimate resistance, and we're applying a tremendous amount of force, and then it finally breaks free and starts to roll forward. Guys, when we work towards change and improvement, it's the same thing. I always say, one of my favorite quotes to say is that the heavy lifting is always at the beginning. Whatever we're going to do. Once we're doing it, it's better. In fact, and the more often we do it, the better we get at it. We just ran a meet. We're recording this December 3rd, 4th, and we just ran one of our meets this past weekend, Barbell Assault 3. It's 3, but it's about 7 or 8 events that we run in our facility in the last 2.5 years. On the outside, it looks super smooth. And on the inside, it's a lot smoother. It's still a lot of work, but a lot easier than the first one was. Barbell Assault 1 was the toughest one, 2016. Because it was our first one. It was our first one in a new facility. It was the first one, under a new federation. There was a lot of firsts to it. We had done some other meets. We had put some together. We've been involved in them, and I've been competing for a long time. So I had a lot of experience. But if I look at the amount of effort it took to do 1 versus 3, hands down, 3 was a lot easier because we have momentum. And because every time we run one, we find ways to improve for the next one. That's part of the 10Xing. When things are going well, 10X that as well. Right? When things are going well, focus on when things are going well. Put more effort on what's really happening. We can sit there and we have to look at our strengths and our weaknesses. And there's certain weaknesses we need to improve upon, period. We got to get up better. We got to sleep better. We got to eat better. But there's certain weaknesses that, we don't have to get better at. What we can do is find a way to get those weaknesses taken care of. For example, let's say you just suck at cleaning the house. Well, then hire someone to clean the house. It still has to get done. But there are certain things that we can turn around and we can offload, that we can delegate, that we can make sure gets done as a team, that we can find someone who, those certain tasks that you don't like doing, their wheelhouse is, that's their strength and they enjoy doing that. And then what that does is that frees up more time for you to spend more effort and energy in the areas you do well in. So if you have certain areas that you're really strong in, and they're the ones that help you generate more revenue and more freedom, well, by putting more effort behind those continue to improve as well. And as those improve, they allow you to compensate for the areas you're weaker in it, but you still need to make sure both ends get taken care of. When you first start, your own gig, or you start your own business, you have to do everything, because unless you're sitting there with a huge wallet, right, you can't afford to hire everything out. You're not busy enough. So you have to take care of everything yourself. So, you're going from the sales to cleaning the toilets. But quickly as you start getting busier and things start moving forward, ideally you want to start to hire out a little bit, subcontract out a little bit for those things that need to get done, still super important, but they don't need to get done by you. So that's one of the big things, guys, is that understanding that if you don't have time to cook meals, then hire a meal service. If you can't afford a meal service, then you're going to have to cook your own meals, right? Not being able to afford to do something using the excuse not to get it done, especially the basics and necessities. So don't get caught up in that. Oh, I'm not good at it, so I'm not going to do it. Well, that doesn't count. That doesn't make it, because you're still responsible for those weaker areas. It's still up to you to make sure it gets done. And that's part of the 10X. That's part of the resistance, right? As soon as you step forward, right, things are going to start pushing back on you. So I think a lot of times when we go to make changes and we go to improve, we underestimate the amount of work it's going to take. We underestimate the amount of blowback we're going to get. We underestimate the amount of discomfort that's going to happen. And in fact, what typically happens as we start moving towards our goals and things start happening and the hard work starts to set in and the resistance comes, what a lot of people start to do is rather than double down their efforts and 10X their efforts and go all in even harder, they change their goals. They change the parameters. They go, well, you know what? Maybe I don't need to sign 100 new members this year. Maybe I just need to sign 20. Well, that's bullshit. Maybe I don't need to lose that 30 pounds. I'll be happy with 5. No, you won't. What you're doing, though, is rather than pushing harder and getting better at what you're trying to improve upon, is you're just moving the end result. You're just changing the goal. And that's a cop-out. Don't do that. Set some real goals. Challenge yourself. Make sure they put you outside your comfort zone. But be ready to go all in. Be ready to 10X everything. We have a 21-day challenge we're running called Becoming a Badass in 21 Days. We'll put the link in it. We're going to run this every 2 months. And one of the things that we're doing in there is you got to give up alcohol for 21 days. And I've got 15 people in this first one. And 3 of them have already contacted me telling me, oh, well, they can't do it. So I just, quickly responded. If you can't give up alcohol for 21 days, you have an alcohol problem. It's that simple. You can give up anything for 21 days. Ask your wife. She has no problem giving up sex for 21 days. That's just not funny, man, because it's true. But you know what I mean? Listen, guys, If you can't make a change over 21 days, if you can't stop doing a negative behavior for 21 days, you have a bigger problem. Or you just haven't gone all in. You haven't 10x the commitment to do it. Right? It all sounds nice. It all sounds romantic. You guys, we all sit there New Year's Eve, typical people making all these resolutions. You should walk into New Year's Eve already knowing what you want to change in 2019. If you go back to some of our previous episodes over the last couple of weeks, we talked about that. How do you want to finish 2018? Where do you want 2019 to go? All that shit should be figured out by now. You should not fucking walk into any New Year's Eve party and not know what you're trying to do for 2019. And if you're at that point right now, as soon as you're done listening to this podcast, break out a piece of fucking paper and a pen and start thinking. Because if you wait till New Year's Eve to come up with your resolution, sure as shit, you're going to be part of that percentage, 80-some%, almost 90%, that are derailed after New Year's resolution within the first week. And again, if you're listening to this podcast, you're tired of doing that. You want to make changes. You want to improve. You want to become the person you really want to become. And I'll tell you right now, if you walk into New Year's Eve and that kind of in the holiday season, and you already know what you want to work on in 2019, sit back and listen to the other people that are coming up with their stuff that day. Sit back and listen to what it sounds like. Listen to the energy behind it. And you'll see it's not real. It's not concrete enough. Those whys have to be huge. The focus has to be bigger. You have to be determined. You have to 10x what you're doing. Guys, if you haven't picked up that book yet, I suggest you pick up that book over the holidays. Good, easy read, bit of his life story, and just lays it out on the line. No bullshit. I love it. I love it overall. Focus on that kind of stuff. Feed your mind these kind of things. And you'll have no choice but to keep improving. It'll change your mindset. Guys, that's all I have to say about that for now. Head on over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a positive review. Head on over to hostilegear.com. Get yourself some awesome 2019 hoodie merch. We got some new stuff coming out, nice and warm. Keep you cozy. And I'll talk to you guys later. Hey guys, Kurt Haas here from the Silverback Blueprint. Listen, if you guys are looking to get a jump start on some change and really get things going, but you're feeling stuck and you just need that little push, I want you guys to head over to silverbackblueprint.com. I've got a cool 3-video series that we just put up there, and it's geared to help you within the next 7 days lose 10 pounds, sleep better, and think clearer. Just the right thing to give you that right catalyst to get started. So head on over to silverbackblueprint.com. Sign up for there. You're going to get 3 cool videos covering 3 topics that if you follow are going to make a big difference. Work hard, motherfuckers, and I'll talk to you guys later.